This is the breaking news at noontime. The President of the United States gets those $1,400 third stimulus checks landing. $1,400 third stimulus checks landed in bank accounts on Friday, and more will land this Wednesday, April 7th. Finally, those stimulus checks are landing. I have all the breaking news across the board about your third stimulus checks of $1,400. Elsewhere, Monday. Great job numbers were released on Friday, and Wall Street will have to react to the news. Will it go up? Will it go down? The incredible jaw-dropping great numbers for job creations in the month of March may send the 10-year Treasury note through the roof and could be bad news for stocks or good news. I'll have all the analysis coming into the major Monday trading day that impacts your stimulus. Also making news at noontime is the following. Reoccurring stimulus checks. Monthly stimulus checks are the major push under the fourth stimulus package, and I'll explain to you how today's comments, and in fact comments just minutes ago, could impact the situation. The question is how soon these stimulus checks could go out and how soon you could see them. I'll have all the analysis as well. And then there's fourth stimulus. What's happening in the fourth stimulus package? And how soon will the fourth stimulus package get it to the finish line? New details just forming in the last few minutes from Wall Street to Main Street and to Washington. And then the surprising developments happening minutes ago as Roy Blunt offers a Republican counteroffer to the President of the United States for the fourth stimulus package. The announcement made minutes ago after morning's LALATE. I'll go over Roy Blunt's offer and what it means to you and your stimulus. It's a big morning as stimulus goes out across the country. Whether it's third stimulus or fourth stimulus on the horizon, I have all the breaking details. Let's get underway as noontime LALATE unfolds, starting right now on LALATE. It's a big day of noontime LALATE as the President of the United States got those $1,400 third stimulus checks out. I'll be going over all those details and more. And how are you? Happy Easter. And thank you for joining me on the breaking news happening at noontime here on LALATE. It's a big day. And there's a lot of developments that just unfolded in just the last few minutes since morning's LALATE. Roy Blunt with that amazing counteroffer to the President of the United States. Could a deal be hatched for fourth stimulus? I'll have that in this recording and the statements from Roy Blunt and the president's response from his member of his economic council, Brian Reese. That's coming up in just a second. It's breaking news just happening minutes ago. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. You don't want to miss a video across the board today because it's a big day. And I know it's Easter, so you may be taking time with your family. So if you're watching this taped later on, enjoy this and all the other taped shows from today's recordings because tomorrow's a big day. Also, like this video. It really helps in the algorithm rankings. Keep on liking the videos. You're doing a great job. We're ranking number 1. Keep it up. And if you've not become a member, please do. Because the other money in the third stimulus package is about to land, and you don't want to miss it. I'll give you the bill and all the deal provisions. Also, there's all the standalone bill stuff that's happening as well. The link to become a member is in the top of the chat and also in the pinned comment and in the description. Well, away we go. Those $1,400 third stimulus checks had several waves. Wave 1 was March 17th. Wave 2 was March 24th. And wave 3 was March 31st. Well, guess what? That wave crashed and did an incredible, great job on Friday. Finally, we're getting to the finish line. That $1,400 third stimulus check went out on Friday from Treasury. Let me give you the details starting right now. This is what's happening. Those checks are landing on Wednesday, April 4th. The President of the United States got that fourth wave of stimulus checks out on Friday from Treasury. The Treasury sent out on Friday morning a final wave, next to final wave, of $1,400 third stimulus checks. Those $1,400 third stimulus checks landed in bank accounts by the middle of the day, and a series of banks released the funds. The banks releasing the funds early, in advance of the April 7th date, are Bancorp, Chime, Cash App, also H&R Block, Green Emerald Card, along with NetSpend, MetaBank, Green Dot, California Bank and Trust, and Nova. And away we went. Then, last night, Friday night, going into, 2 nights ago, Friday night going into Saturday morning, the IRS tool updated itself. And then the deposits started to appear for next week. On April 7th, thousands and millions of checks will be available for direct deposit for millions and millions of viewers of this channel. The tool now reflects April 7th direct deposits, whether you're on Direct Express by Comerica or whether you are a big bank customer, whether you're on benefits or not on benefits. April 7th is the big date. Including with the great news is that it includes individuals who are veterans. They will not have to wait for another round because I've seen the alerts and the pending deposits. Those monies are available next Wednesday. What's important to understand is that sometimes the tool may not update itself. For some viewers, the tool may not work. But viewer Margie has the fix. If you go to the IRS tool and it's not recognizing your name or address, try typing the address in all caps. That apparently is a hack that works. That when you type the address in all caps, it suddenly recognizes you and reveals the pending deposit for next Wednesday. Also happening next Wednesday is those April 9th checks will be landing by the mail in the current wave. The President of the United States has been sending out checks both by direct deposit and also by mail. The March 26 checks are on their way. They're late for some. And the April 2nd, 3rd, and 4th checks are coming as well. They're late for others. Meantime, the next wave of stimulus checks will be that April 9th date. All incredible great news. Stimulus has landed and it will continue to land all next week. But tomorrow will be the big surprise as millions of Americans look to see what's going to be the reaction to those jobs numbers. Those jobs numbers were revealed yesterday on Friday, and they were surprising. What do those jobs numbers show? There they are. Those jobs numbers showed incredible growth of the U.S. economy on Friday. 916,000 jobs created in the month of March. Higher than anyone expected. The previous month, 300,000. The previous month, in fact, was reassessed up to 500,000. What's important to understand is that this economy was not supposed to rebound this quickly, and this number is stronger than anyone expected. With that, the question across the board is whether the 10-year Treasury note will rebound or surge through the roof, causing the stock market to crash or not, or whether as a united force, all indices will go up. What was that number? The number showed that in the month of March, we generated 916,000 jobs, nearly a million jobs. Those million jobs is higher than anyone would have expected across the board. With that number, the highest surge was leisure and hospitality, travel. 280,000 jobs created in the month of March. Also leading was construction, with 110,000 new jobs created. The labor numbers, today's labor numbers report emphasizes a strong recovery that is beginning to take shape, says Charlie Ripley, VP of Portfolio Management and Alliance Investment, in a note on Friday. The payroll data suggests that the labor market may have turned around, but we're still a long way for substantial growth. What's important to know is that this is big for your stimulus, because ultimately, who gives stimulus if the economy is too strong? The numbers you need to understand are the following. That Wall Street was expecting 300,000 new jobs created per month, 8 million jobs missing, and that would take nearly 16 months to restore the jobs. Treasury, the White House, and also the Federal Reserve all said that they will continue to support this economy because it takes 16 months to restore 8 million jobs. But a series of reports on Friday from Wall Street suggest that the April numbers for jobs might be even bigger. at 2 million jobs created this month. If that number is true, 2 million jobs with 8 million per month restored when 8 million are missing means this economy could be back to normal in 4 months. What does that have to do with your stimulus? I'll have all the analysis for you in a second because this is huge when we go into forced stimulus. And with forced stimulus, the big question then is those reoccurring stimulus checks. And how does that unfold? Let me explain what's happening with that. The president next week will debut his forced stimulus package bill. It will not have monthly stimulus checks in there. Rather, Senate Democrats will put it in there. When and how? First, let me go over the numbers of these stimulus checks and how they work. The numbers of the stimulus checks are the following. The Democrats would be urging to have stimulus checks every month until the end of this year. They said monthly, and they said to the end of this year. They didn't say the amount, but they did say the same qualifications. So if you're watching and you're a viewer and you're ready for that $14 third stimulus check to land on Wednesday, well, you better start getting ready to see multiple stimulus checks to the end of this year. If it's $2,000 a month, that would be $12,000 over 6 months. If it's $1,400 a month, it would be $8,400 over 6 months. It's an enormous sum of money for anyone who makes less than $75,000. The same amount of check for adult dependents, the same amount of money for minor dependents, 4-person household. If it sounds like a lot of money, it isn't. The president privately has been telling insiders he wants to take that child tax credit of $3,600 and make it a lifetime benefit to age 18. That would mean that a newborn would be paid $300 a month for 18 years or $65,000. Clearly, that's a lot cheaper when you're talking about stimulus checks of $8,400 over 6 months. Now, here's the rub. And when would this happen? Let me explain the details and how this is unfolding. While the President of the United States may be writing a fourth stimulus package bill and debuting it and not having reoccurring stimulus checks in there, the Senate Democrats, 21 of 50, say that when it lands in the Senate, they're going to amend it. Reconciliation is the path currently, but stay with me later in this video. You're going to see breaking news just happening just minutes ago that suggests maybe this may not have to go by reconciliation. What does that have to do with your stimulus checks? I'll explain in a second. But 21 of 50 Democrats want that monthly stimulus check in there and vow that when the bill lands in the Senate for reconciliation, they will amend it, including Ron Wyden, who is appearing right here along with Bernie Sanders. 21 of 50 Democrats in the Senate and hundreds in the House have told the president they're going to amend the bill and put it in there because they have the right to during what's called vote-a-rama. That vote-a-rama goes over 2 days when the bill lands in the Senate. Also breaking news about this very subject happening just minutes ago was from this individual, Roy Blunt. Let me go over the breaking details about what happened with Roy Blunt just minutes ago. Roy Blunt, in an interview on Saturday, offered a Republican compromise. And what did that Republican compromise for the fourth stimulus package say? Let me go over all the details. Roy Blunt is a Republican and a top leading Republican, and he's also from Missouri. In an interview on Sunday, minutes ago, Roy Blunt said that this bill can get passed with Republican support if you do just the infrastructure part of it. This is what he said. I think that's easy. I think there's an easy win for the White House here. If they would take the win, which is make this just an infrastructure bill, which is about 30% of the bill. Even if you stretch the definition of infrastructure some, it's about 30% of the $2.25 trillion bill we're talking about spending. If we go back and look at roads and bridges and ports and airports and maybe even underground water systems and broadband, you're still talking about less than 30% of this entire package. I think 30% is about $615 or so billion, said Blunt in an interview Sunday with Fox News obtained by LALATE. Blunt goes on to explain that if you think you can do that with some innovative things like looking at how we deal with the electric vehicles and use of the highway systems, what can we do with that public-private partnership? Blunt's compromise is the following. Just do the infrastructure part of the bill, but he'll be happy to throw in the electric utilities and also the infrastructure along with broadband, water, and similar instruments like that. And he says it comes out to just about 30% of the bill, or about $615 billion. But if you don't do that, then you're dealing with climate, says Blunt. If you don't do that, then you're dealing with things that have nothing to do with stimulus. And then you get a complete Republican opposition. As Mitch McConnell said on Friday, I'm going to fight every step of the way because I think there's the wrong prescription for the American people. Now, Roy Blunt's promise and compromise was on the heels of this individual who appears at the top of the video, who is a chief economic council advisor to the president. His name is Brian Reese, and he also appeared on News Today. When asked about the offer from the Republicans to just do infrastructure and to include electricity, broadband, internet, water infrastructure, and similar, Reese said no. He said, let's also talk for long term about what these investments are that we've done that we really need to drive, and not just more job growth, but also better job growth. Not just job growth in short term, but also job growth for long term by investing in our infrastructure. What's interesting is that in a video released by the White House, which you may have seen on Friday from this channel, Reese is asked by an older individual in the video to explain what type of jobs Reese has for this older individual. If you look at the older individual at the bottom of the screen, he doesn't look like someone who wants to be on the side of the highway digging a trench to lay a pipe. But that's Reese's response to that individual's comment. When the individual says, what type of job do you have for me? Reese says, I have some jobs working on the freeway and digging some pipes and laying some pipes. Not particularly responsive. Let's listen in to what Reese said when asked, what exactly type of jobs do you have for me, sir, in this fourth stimulus package? Let's listen in right now to see what he said during that interview about the stimulus package.
Jobs does the plan actually create?
This plan will create jobs all around the country, putting people to work building things, roads, bridges, highways, constructing new housing, replacing lead pipes to ensure clean water for all Americans. It'll put people to work innovating in R&D and labs around the country, helping to create new discoveries in clean energy jobs of the future. And it will also help increase the pay and the dignity of the workers who provide care in our economy, caring for the elderly and the disabled.
How does this jobs plan tackle climate change? And is environmental justice being factored in?
That's such a great question.
This individual is one of the chief climate czars for the president. And when it comes to climate, that's where the bill gets the Republican opposition. The Republicans don't want to do climate. And how does that impact you? I'll be explaining that in a second, because in a strange way, if the president realizes he has opposition to the bill and goes right by reconciliation, then ironically, you're then set up for perfectness for reoccurring stimulus checks on the fourth stimulus package. Of all these details and more, as Noontime LA continues, I'll be back in 60 seconds, also with more details about your $1,400 third stimulus check. Stay with me as Noontime LA continues, but first, here's a little bit about the community page. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. and then afternoons LA Late at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA Late. And the excitement continues right now on Noontime LA Late. How are you? Happy Easter. I hope your Sunday is going well. If you're watching this live, thank you. I saw your comments during the commercial break. Great questions, great comments. I'll be answering some of them in a second. And if you're watching this tape late in the day because you're celebrating Easter with your family, I hope you had a wonderful day. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. I don't want you to miss a single video across the board. And I'm back with you throughout the day. Also, like this video. It really helps in the algorithm ranking. Keep on liking the videos. Keep on sharing the videos. And later in this video, I'm going to show the importance of tagging and sharing this video with elected officials because there's a push underway for the Purple Power for hashtag MSC. That's coming up in a second. Stay with me. A lot more coming up in this video. First, what I want to touch on is the $14 third stimulus check. Those are landing next Wednesday by direct deposit from your major bank. If you have not been able to find it on the IRS tool, change the address you're typing into all caps, and sometimes the tool works then. Also, for some people, the tool may never work, so don't worry. That stimulus check is coming next week. Meantime, what's important to know is that those mail checks are in the mail, and so if you're watching that mail check, don't worry. When we talked about these reoccurring stimulus checks under the fourth stimulus package, how will this work and how will this formulate? Let me explain the details. The president has two paths to get a stimulus package to the Senate. Either by normal bill, which will require bipartisan support, which is what Blount was talking about in that interview today, or with no Republican support, then you would have to go by reconciliation, which is what DC was talking about. If you do not have Republican support, you do reconciliation. When the bill lands in the Senate, that is when the senators would modify the bill to put the provisions in there. What's important to understand if you did not tune in on Saturday to this channel, and what I'll explain again right now, is that SSI and SSDI $2,400 will pair in comparison to anything that is proposed in the fourth stimulus package. Throughout the land, SSI and SSDIs proposed by Elizabeth Warren got different versions manifested themselves among chatter. And some people have been dropping in the comments that SSI and SSDI was going to be increased by 20% for everyone. Absolutely not. That's not what Elizabeth Warren proposed. It was up to 20% for only certain individuals. And the COLA change to CPIE is something that could be done by executive order. But when you look at the $2,400, or whether it's FPUC retro, or whether it's hazard pay, which are all still a possibility in the fourth stimulus package, they pale in comparison to the massive amount of monthly stimulus checks of $12,000. They are dwarfed in size by this enormous sum that these Democrats want to have. More about that in a second. It's important to know what's happening next week. Third stimulus is heating up as the remaining items of the third stimulus package go live. I'll be focusing on getting that money for you as a family. You may be getting that $14 stimulus check on Wednesday, but after that, what's the next check? Together as a family, you need to pounce as a purple hawk, and get that money as soon as it goes live. What are the third stimulus items that are about to go live? Rent in your city, county, and state. Food from SNAP if you've not gotten it. Mortgage assistance, property owner assistance, property owner utilities, and potentially property taxes going live in your city, county, and state. SBA is about to go live with not one, but three possible instruments. The first is the Shuttered Venue Grant, which is not necessarily just for venues. The preview of that application has now gone live on sba.gov. Sign up for your email address to get that from SBA right now. The PPP grant was extended by executive order on Friday. Go get that grant if you haven't right now. Also, the EIDL grant is about to go live. That's $5,000. PPP grant has no ceiling on it like that. PPP can go much higher. The restaurant grant is also set to go live as well. Also just happening is a series of refunds. Those refunds were manifested themselves in an IRS statement on Friday. The first, $10,200. If you have paid your 2020 tax return and paid taxes on your unemployment benefits from 2020, you're getting a tax refund check. IRS confirmed on Friday that refund checks will be mailed in the month of May to people who filed 2020 tax returns and paid taxes on their unemployment. Remember, under the third stimulus package, your first $10,200 is tax-free. Also heading to go live is the other refunds or prepayments, whatever you call them. First is those children and their money. Also, the other money about to go live. First, if you're an individual who paid tax, who took out for taxes in your unemployment benefits in 2020, IRS is set to give an announcement this week to explain how you prepare your 2020 return to account for money taken out of your unemployment benefits for taxes each week. Number two, if you have a child and you don't think the IRS knows about the child, but you want to ensure that that child gets that enormous sum of money starting in the month of July, that $3,600 starting in the month of July, or $3,000 if the child's a little bit older, Treasury's about to make that announcement in the next few days as well. I'm going to be watching all this for you as well. Hazard pay is into the 2021 tax return. If you made less than $25,000 and you're 19 years or older, it's $1,502. And then there's other things going live, the child care tax credit, and also the $1,700 of financial aid if you're a college student. Reach out to your financial aid advisor for that money right now. A lot of money and a lot of details going live in third stimulus in the next few days. Meantime, what about fourth stimulus? And how quickly could fourth stimulus go to the finish line? The President of the United States issued a new release of a video in the last few days explaining how helpful third stimulus is and when that third stimulus money is going to land. Let's listen into this video that explains the money for third stimulus and when it's landing for millions of Americans, how those checks are automatic and how you don't have to do anything. This is Janet Yellen, your Treasury Secretary, in a video explaining those checks land.
I want to talk to you about the American Rescue Plan and how it will help families and kids. Pre-COVID, about 1 in 7 children were living below the poverty line, but the pandemic spiked that number to more than 1 in 5. The American Rescue Plan will address these crises and is projected to cut the child poverty rate in half through a big expansion of the child tax credit. If you make less than $75,000 alone or $150,000 as a couple, you'll receive a tax credit of $3,600 for each child under the age of 6 and $3,000 for each child aged 6 to 17. The law helps the families of 66 million children. It's a big bill with a lot in it, enough relief to see us through to the other side of the pandemic.
And that is your Treasury Secretary. Meantime, the White House also released recently a new video explaining the other money you will get in the third stimulus package. It's very helpful as a reminder as we go into the new week
Rescue
to
Plan has
understand
passed
that
Congress
money
and President
that's
Biden
about to
signed it
land.
into
Let's
law.
listen
So
in.
I'm going to tell you about how it's going to help you. This bill is going to help families all over the country. It provides $1,400 checks in direct relief to the families who need it most. It provides the extension of unemployment insurance. So 11 million people in this country who otherwise would have lost their unemployment insurance in March are now going to see that extended through the beginning of September, and they're going to also get an extra $300 a week. This bill also expands the child tax credit, which means that families will receive a $3,600 benefit for every kid under 6 and a $3,000 benefit for every kid between 6 and 17. And this bill is going to help small businesses. The money in this bill provides access to capital, especially for minority-owned small businesses, to ensure that they can get through this moment. In addition to those benefits, this is a bill that's going to fund a national vaccination program. So it's going to ensure that you can get a shot and that we get a little bit closer to the goal that President Biden laid out last week of getting this country one big step closer to normal by the 4th of July. So these are just some of the many ways that the American Rescue Plan is going to help you and families like yours all across the country. If you want more information, you can go to www.whitehouse.gov/American Rescue Plan.
Meantime, let's analyze how that reoccurring stimulus check will happen for millions of Americans and why getting this bill to the Senate as quickly as possible is a big issue across the board. Those reoccurring stimulus checks need to be pushed out, and that pushing out of those reoccurring stimulus checks only happen when a forced stimulus package bill lands in the Senate. When would those reoccurring stimulus checks land if there is no Republican offer? Let me analyze the detail for you right now. Here is what's going on. When you look at the reoccurring stimulus checks, the date is effective upon the bill becoming law. If the bill becomes law in the month of June, then away we go. Every month that the bill is not a law, you miss a stimulus check. That's sort of obvious. So if you don't get the bill out the door by July, you miss a month of a stimulus check. Also very obvious. But there's a bigger issue here at hand. And that bigger issue here is the following. Wall Street is unclear how robust this economy currently is. This is what's going on. There's 8 million jobs missing. When those 8 million jobs are restored, stimulus is effectively gone. So when are those 8 million jobs being restored? Head of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, next January. Janet Yellen, head of Treasury, next year. The President of the United States, next year. Myself, as of 2 days ago, next year. But what happened on Friday? The jobs number came out. 1 million jobs created in the month of March. Ooh. Well, if there's 1 million jobs missing and there's 8 million jobs missing and we're generating 1 million new jobs a month, that means in 8 months, the jobs are going to be restored. What's 8 months from now? We're fine on that. That's the end of this year. But then there's this. On Friday, a series of analysts said no. In the month of April, we could have 2 million jobs restored in the month of April. And going forward, 2 million jobs restored every month. How quickly would those jobs of 8 million be restored? If there's 2 million a month, 4 months. And there is the big issue. As we sit here in April, 4 months from now is just this summer when the jobs could be restored. That's why you want this bill in the Senate as quickly as possible while those 8 million jobs are missing, so the bill goes out for reoccurring stimulus checks. You don't want this bill to land in the Senate in the fall or the late summer if those jobs are restored, because some of those Democrats may have second thoughts and say, no, the jobs are restored. We don't need to provide stimulus. Here's what you need to know. The president has 2 paths for the stimulus bill, the forced stimulus bill. One by reconciliation, one by a normal bill with the Republican support. If you saw those videos today, if you saw that Roy Blunt interview and you saw the DC response, the president's talking about talking with Republicans over a few weeks. That's not a good idea because every few weeks is a delay. The president should take the bill and send it off to the House and to the Senate as soon as possible because it takes about 2 months to pass the bill by reconciliation. 2 months, April, May, away we go. The bill goes out. We're good. Multiple stimulus checks every month to the end of the year. We're good. We don't have to worry about the economy rebounding too quickly. But if the president takes 3, 4, 5 weeks talking to Republicans who include Mitch McConnell, says we're going to oppose this, or Blunt says we're not going to do it unless you do it our way, then takeaway will be the following. The bill will be dragged out, and that by the time it goes by recon, there's a concern the economy could be rebounded. So what do? As the Purple Power, take this video. What is Purple Power? It's the push to this channel. Purple Power refers both to the viewership and also to their power. Take the spirit of this channel as with your power and take this video and share it on social media. Tag your elected officials who are Democrats. Tag your elected officials who are Republicans. And tag them and say, get this bill done now. The faster this bill goes out, the faster it's done. If you got these Democrats to get this bill in their hand in 60 days, you are in a very, very good position. You want this bill to go by reconciliation into the Senate and out the door, signed into law as fast as possible before the economy rebounds. And with that, thank you for joining me on a big noontime broadcast. There's a lot of stuff developing across the board, and tomorrow is going to be a big day as Wall Street reopens for the first time since seeing these new jobs numbers. These job numbers are enormous. And ultimately, Wall Street will have to determine whether these new job numbers are great news or whether they're confusing news. What I want you to know is that there's a lot of stuff still happening. And across the board, I'll be dedicated to ensure that you get this money as soon as you can get it. From my home to your home, from Wall Street to Main Street, thank you for joining me on a big noontime broadcast. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. I really appreciate all your comments, and I saw them during the commercial break. Make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video. I'll be back with you in just a little while. Stay informed, stay focused, keep on smiling, and with that, stay with LA for more as Noontime and Afternoons LA continues.